That's part of the rust colors, so I could do that on here on a couple spots. Rust has this particular shade of yellowy orange in it, actually. So paint some of these. I'm doing the rebar. That's those springs that are the big lighters, eh? I don't know if you can zoom in here. The hell's a zoomer? Let's clean things up when I move things. Dang. Bear with me. That looks pretty good for rebar, those things. You know, for just springs and gooped up. Whoops. Yeah, that's the best I can do. Anyways. So that's how I do painting those. Rust color. This is what I mean by there's other better painters. Oh, well, that's not how you do rust. Well, that's how I'm doing rust. Actually, normally what I do is I'll coat it with iron filings and then put an oxidizing agent on it and actually make real rust. Because it's hard to paint real rust. At least I find it hard to paint real rust. This is burnt sienna. So I've got sort of a squash blossom, which is kind of a weirdy orangey yellow color. And then this is burnt sienna, which is a reddish brown color. If I had one of these open, probably do. I've got lots open. I use this stuff up a fair amount. This is one of the colors I like, this burnt sienna color. It's hard to tell. Oh, anyways, it's useful for those red bricks type effect, and well, it's just one of the good basic type color for all kinds of things. Like rust. That looks pretty good. I said that before, haven't I? I like kind of dry brushing more so than I do painting, eh? Well, I didn't even know what the hell dry brushing was there, to tell you the truth, either. Basically just putting on very minimal amount of paint. You know, using many strokes versus one huge stroke. Seems to make a better effect. It allows for making mistakes a little bit more, you know what I mean? Big secret with a lot of this stuff is not holding your breath. You hold your breath and it makes it harder to do. The spring didn't quite fill up, so I'm just going to stick in a little piece of something. I don't know what the hell this is. A piece of fluff of some form. I should put it over top of the hole that's showing. Paint it brown. Done. This guy should have had more goop on him too. That's funny, I have a hard time talking and painting. Requires a fair amount of concentration for me for some reason. I want to Christmas party, dinner, supper thingy at last night. It's kind of cool actually. A little bit outside my comfort zone, but sat with a couple decent people. One guy was he was a chaplain for the fire department here. Cool guy, actually. He's a pretty cool guy. Anyways, I told him to check out my website because he's kind of into the internet a bit too. Yeah, neat guy. So, anyways, hope he does. If he does, hey, dude, thanks for checking it out. Dude, yeah. Well. Yeah, actually the combination of these two colors makes very good rust. Yeah, I'm impressed. It'll be good enough anyways. So now I need to wash my brush. I always forget to wash my brushes. Another container here. Do I use that one? Everybody has different methods of doing their brushes. Depending on what kind of paint you're using, I always like to put, I always like to put mine back into a nice point and let it dry that way, ideally undisturbed. If I'm using enamels or oil type paint, not water wash up, I usually coat it with Vaseline at this point. That way if you've missed a little bit of paint on them and stuff like that, or you've got paint down inside there, right up against the edge, like you get, after a while, if you're not washing them properly. Anyways, it doesn't dry on you if you coat it with Vaseline. And then with those kind of paints, you're always using a turpentine or paint thinner of some form anyways, which will wash off the Vaseline when you go to use it again. I used to be a sign painter, did lettering on signs. It's kind of cool. Did that through college that's how I got myself sort of through college. Got me a huge friggin' loan, which took a dozen years to pay off. Another waste of money type thingy. Well, no. Knowledge is never wasted. Yeah, knowledge is never wasted, but could have done something different. Something a lot more enjoyable. I'm looking for something to wipe this paint off with now, because I don't want to stick my hand in it later, which I'm going to. So now we need to know what color we're going to do this. Work your way up from the darks to the lights. That's what I like doing. That way you're working your way out to the highlight. And I always try to think of light. Oh, no, you look at what I'm looking at. There we go. I always try to think of light coming in from one angle. So, however you would picture the light coming in. Then when I dry brush it, I give that area just a little bit more of the light color. I don't know, that's the way I do it. So, what am I going to use? Stuff sometimes looks good with a little bit of blue tinge to it, but so this one is called, these are by different companies. This is a Delta cream coat, which I don't really care for. I don't really care for the cream coats for some reason, but depends on what you're doing. This Quaker Gray, it's called Quaker Gray. It's nice for dry brushing. So that's kind of what I use that for at the very end, dry brushing. And this is Storm Cloud Gray. So that's what color I'm going to do this with. I'm just looking for an easy paintbrush rather than having to move stuff.